So let me start asking you, Ranjan, the first question. That we said, right, when something enters the enterprise, it needs to have a framework, it needs to have policy, procedure. Based on your experience, what are the practical things you have seen which help you secure the AI, some framework, some guidelines from you?
Yeah. We talk, our business comes to us when they come with some GenAI solution. But a lot of those agents sitting on our machines are also using GenAI. And we are hardly aware about it. So the point is, when we talk about the governance, we should first know what data, where is it processing, how is it processed. Importantly, it's not just information security team, but it's a collaborative efforts you need from your IT counterpart, from a business counterpart, or even the legal and compliances team. Because every industry has a different regulator. Okay, somebody may say that the data needs to be processed in India only. Somebody may have some other requirements. So this needs to be looked at from all those lenses, and it has to be also part of your legal agreement with the vendors. Earlier, we used to have those confidential clauses. Now there has to be AI clauses. Earlier, we used to have architecture review boards. Now you should also have AI governance boards in place. Almost 25% of the applications business will directly start handling in next 3 years. So the visibility of IT would possibly only 75%. But from an information security point of view, you still need to have that 100%.
Yeah, and just to add, so if you look at a very theoretical answer, so what are the AI governance framework are adopted by the industry? The latest one, the India is a land of ISO adoption, right? The ISO 42001 is one which is adopted. We also, as an enterprises, we adopt the NIST AI Risk Management Framework. They call as AI RMF. That's also very well adopted adopted NIST framework in across the industry. And one thing which I want to actually call it out is that OWASP's top 10 AI-related vulnerabilities management is also very good.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
So these are the few frameworks which industry are using. Let me come to Harshad. While the frameworks are there, but industry today is about the ecosystem, upstream and downstream vendors, partners ecosystem, suppliers ecosystem. Now, I may have an AI governance framework, what Ranjan said, what I said. But if my third parties, from whom I'm taking a service, if they don't have the AI governance framework, how do I secure the stack?
I think a very good question. I'll be sharing my personal thoughts, nothing to do with my
Take the mic
organization.
up.
Yeah, is it okay now? So quickly, I think I'll just go back to the earlier question to answer your question, because you are talking about supply chain risk. See your framework. I think this is a time where organization need to think data-centric control framework. When I say data-centric control framework, I think first layer is always a governance. Second is your data. And third is mainly the security. Okay. When we talk about third parties, right, I will have this DCCF, maybe data-centric control framework in place. I'm just taking an example, maybe AI RMF also. But how do we ensure that the partners are also adhering? So first of all, I think first important thing is basically we need to spread awareness. The risk associated with AI are huge. There are benefits, also the risk. And if partners can be anybody, right? You can have your development partner as a partner who is actually developing some modules for you. And he might be using certain poised libraries or some models which are already, the source code is already poised, right? These kind of models are already available in the market. And if they use that and build, algorithms based on your use cases, naturally the entire model is, also prone to attack. And this is where I think first is the awareness we need to spread, that if you are building something, build it as far as possible with an authentic source. Second is, most of the time we also use open source product, right? Because you will see that nowadays in AI, you can actually convert raw data into PPT. There are so many tools already available, voiceover, there are so many tools available, right? Because they are available, open source, most of the partners, they will use it. So we need to also educate them on the risk. What are the risks with these typical models. And the third piece is basically the legal framework. You need to have contracts in place to ensure that they also abide with your policies and framework. In a way, you also will have some sort of a auditing mechanism to ensure that these all partners are also getting audited, especially what they are developing, how they are developing.
We talked about the governance framework. We talked about the third parties. I'm coming back, Ranjan, to you, saying that we talked about the legal controls. But if I am, as a inherently AI systems works with the large data systems, they need to work on the large data. They need to give the right output based on the command prompts injection. So how do you introduce the cybersecurity controls in this constraint which is required to work with the data?
First, foremost important thing is have the kind of collaboration with the business so that business can open up and tell you that this is what I need. And then you can put your security controls around it. You need to be very clear about your timelines in terms of how you will evaluate, what kind of risk do you foresee. And I've seen in some of the industries where people look at information security that he will say, give a sign off. Sorry, information security can't give a sign off. They will talk about the risk and what are the compensators. Sometimes the business has to come back saying that these are my compensating controls and this is how I will control. Okay, so third important aspect about this thing is when people are going on SaaS-based solutions, a lot of these vendors I've seen, they are not even distinguishing in terms of your databases. You are running in the same database of the other customers. This is very, very important because the encryption keys are the same. Okay.
Correct.
Plus, they are not giving you, or may not give you visibility which services they are consuming from which part of the globe. Possibly, the sales guys or technical sales guys who are interacting with you, they also may not have that kind of visibility. So for you, it is very important that you have a internal framework. Obviously, we talk about ISO and NIST and all those frameworks, but you should have your internal framework based on your learning of the environment, that these are the few things which are mandatory for me to understand.
If I'm making a product using the third-party products, how do you ensure that my AI posture management is good enough with the help of third parties?
Here, I think legal contracts plays an important role. How the data is stored, what sort of a connectivity, what sort of a data upload, download happening, right? And whether you have inherent, risk management framework, AI risk management framework built in. For example, not just governance. See, today we use so many technologies which they say that we have AI. I'll not take example, but maybe the best use case which I feel is basically every user is somehow the other is getting some malicious phishing mails, and basis every organization posture create some sort of a user score or posture. For example, we have this credit score, right? So every human will have a cyber score. Going forward, that will be the interesting way to see. But every organization, to an extent, has some sort of a cyber risk score. Now, imagine based on this cyber risk score, you have a awareness module which gives you a trainings and phishing mails based on the profiling which is done by the AI model. But in my opinion, the ideal case will be, I am getting an attack. That attack IP will be tracked. That track IP will be blocked, and that blocked IP and alerting will happen simultaneously. This is where we already there. Okay. The next model is basically now you are predicting the model where you are saying that since your AGM is going to be on this date, you will expect some sort of attacks from this particular countries where you are having some sort of a businesses. These are the users which are prone to certain cyber threats.
But Ranjan, let me put your hand on heart and say that today's architecture, are they equipped enough to help you to build the secure GenAI system?
That's a very tricky question. Okay, so today, if you look at we traditionally used to say that our architecture has to be three-tier architecture, where web, app, DB has to be segregated. Then we talked about micro-segmentation and all. And now suddenly we are saying that, my 60-70% applications are running from cloud. Right. So the traditional models needs to be adopted to the new architecture, where most of the time, your applications has to pass on the APIs. Simple example: pass on the API and collect the data, and this is how people are working. Or even, there are systems which I've seen where, for example, I would say in the chemical industry, there are hazard areas which are called as a hazardous area. So manually monitoring if somebody is going there without any precautionary measures and all, it's difficult. So, you can use those smart cameras and all, and these AI-based solutions to detect the employees or the contractors which are they going to that kind of area. But then again, these systems has to interact with your core systems. Then only it will add value. Unless you see that holistic picture, you will not be able to interpret the risk. From an architecture point of view, we have to be very adaptable. And in one of my previous organizations, we used to have architecture review board concept where, people from business, obviously with the business side, IT side, the InfoSec side used to collaborate and see what are we consuming, where are we consuming, how those interfaces will talk to each other. Are we already having some kind of solution inherent solution that can be used for that kind of function?
Now, if the RFP says that you need to build the AI system within the shortest period of time using the lowest budget, so what will be your guidance for those kind of people?
Maybe I'll just take a minute. See, the summit name is AI innovation, right? So we always innovate, and innovate brings a lot of new ideas, right? Innovation brings a lot of new ideas. So in my opinion, if there's a budget restriction, first of all, I will look into how the entire model is built. Okay, SBOM is typical case, right? Which we discussed. How the entire libraries are developed. Are there any dependencies or third countries where actually, if they have some sort of a backdoor open for my AI. And most important, maybe the first important is use case. What is the use case?
Yeah.
Because unless we understand the use case, we'll not be able to correlate what is the impact on the business.
I think
These two things are important.
You hit the nail, because I wanted that to saying that we want to innovate, we want to use an AI, but unless and until there's a right use case, you are actually unsecuring your system. My personal view is that whether it's an AI or it's a platform or normal software, infrastructure security remains the same. What's your view on that, very quickly?
Yes, I agree. Yeah. So basically, it will remain the same, but depending on the kind of infrastructure that is required, whether it is as Kubernetes or it is, some databases, or there are a lot of, he mentioned about open source tools. The security models will change a little bit, but the hardening and all those aspects will remain the same. The access, basically the access control, monitoring, who all users should have what kind of privilege, we call it as a role-based or list privilege access. Those things will remain the same. And I think the fundamental of security are same. We have to change the presentation layer as per the need of it.
Correct. So the fundamentals of the security remains the same, whether you are securing the GenAI or you are securing the normal individual software. And I always go back, discover what you're trying to secure, assess what you are trying to secure, check what you have secured, and again, reporting. Reporting is nothing but visualizing what you are securing and how compliant it with the regulatory requirements.